details before the whistle goes.
So it will be England to get us underway. In terms of Portugal, 5 changes from the side that was thrashed 7-1 by Spain. They have their own goalkeeping discussions in Portugal. Inês Pereira, she is constantly battling with Patricia Moraes for that number 1 spot. She gets the nod in goal, Pereira. Jessica Silva recently recovered from a damaged retina. She was hit by a ball in training, a horrible injury. She's back on the bench, big player for Portugal. No Kika Nazareth though at Barcelona. She scored the equaliser in the 1-1 draw with England in February. She's out with an ankle injury and is touch and go for the Euros, where Portugal will be playing. So we're underway here at Wembley, here on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds. It's England in possession, playing from left to right, debuting their new home kit today. It's white shirts, but you've got a band of blue fading to red and then to white right at the top of those shirts, which is tribute to the pioneers of the women's game who played through the 70s and 80s, and that band representing the way that England's Lionesses have developed over the decades, and of course culminating in that glory at Euro 2022 in this very stadium where they won their first major trophy. Portugal win a throw on this near side. We'll take you through the full lineups in a moment, but Jana Silva is dispossessed well by Grace Clinton, who plays it back to Esme Morgan just outside the D and squares it to Leah Williamson. Driven ball by Hannah Hampton, now very much England's number 1. She was just a little bit ahead of Mary Earps, Serena Wiegman said in April, in that battle to be number 1, but with Earps' retirement, Serena Wiegman confirming that yes, Hannah Hampton will indisputably be number 1 for the Euros as Portugal win a throw over on the far side. So England with Hannah Hampton in goal, the back 4 of Lucy Bronze, Leah Williamson, Esme Morgan and Jess Carter. Ahead of them Grace Clinton and Kira Walsh, with Jess Park, Beth Mead and Lauren Hemp supporting Aggie Beever-Jones through the middle. If you're just joining us, no Russo, no Toon. They are in the overall squad but not fit for today. They might be back for the Spain game, so Beever-Jones expected to lead the line up front as the ball goes out to this right hand side, and Lucy Bronze picked up by Beth Mead, who receives it back from Bronze but well intercepted by Carol Costa, the experienced Portugal defender, and it's out of play for a throw to England just in front of the Portugal manager Francisco Neto, who's been in charge since February 2014. Over 11 years he's been with Portugal, quite remarkable. As England look to break into the area, Portugal get there first and clear the ball out for a throw. Just want to ask you, Karen, about, we've spoken so much about Mary Earps and Hannah Hampton, but Esme Morgan getting the nod today with Millie Bright absent. You've got the Manchester United captain, Maya Le Tissier, who's had a brilliant season for Manchester United.
I was thinking that. Yeah. What does she have to do to get in the team? No disrespect to Esme Morgan, certainly, but I think Maya Le Tissier's had an outstanding season for Manchester United, and I half expected her to see in the team sheet today, or in the starting 11.
Ball is worked all the way back to Hannah Hampton. I laughed as you said that, Karen, because just reading through the live text on the BBC Sport website, somebody has messaged in exactly that. What does Maya Le Tissier have to do to get in this England side when Millie Bright is out? Yeah. If you want to get involved, you can use hashtag BBC Football on social media. A selection of your comments will be published as Beth Mead is dispossessed outside the Portugal penalty area, and Portugal playing in the bright red shirts, the dark green shorts and the red socks lose possession, and England into the penalty area, and they get the opening goal. What a start for England here at Wembley inside the opening 3 minutes. Portugal making a mess of things at the back, and England celebrates the early advantage. Aggie Beever-Jones slotting coolly into the net, and Serena Wiegman with a smile on her face on the touchline. Perfect start for the Lionesses. They lead by a goal to 0.
It was a bit of a scruffy goal, I have to be honest, but Aggie Beever-Jones, I believe it's her first start at Wembley, is it not? And she'll be absolutely thrilled, over the moon with that goal, and setting off England to a great start in the midst of quite a lot of chaos this week in the build-up to this game. But it's, well dispossessed in the midfield, and who's alert, who's always ready, Aggie Beever-Jones, keeping the same form that she's had all season for Chelsea.
Second goal for Aggie Beever-Jones for England. What a moment for her. She got her first one in the 5-0 win against Belgium in this Nations League campaign, and on the score sheet again, and a huge opportunity for her to impress with, as we say, Alessia Russo out injured for this game. As England work it down the left-hand side, it's Lauren Hemp driving away from that Portuguese defence. She's done really well. Beever-Jones is in the centre. Here she is, Beever-Jones, completely miscued. Here's Mead, good save, but nodded in by Lucy Bronze, and the flag stays plays down. What a start this is for England. Inside the opening 5 minutes, they're 2-0 up against Portugal. And the fans in the stands around us go wild in celebration. The red and white England flags are waving because England mean business this evening. They lead Portugal 2-0.
We spoke about a galvanising moment, didn't we, Vicky? And this could possibly be it. Like I said, so much noise around the build-up to this week. But the girls look like they're having fun. They've got smiles on their faces. And Lucy Bronze will be thrilled to nod that over the line. But I think the impact of Aggie Beaver-Jones already running across the face of goal. The dispossession there from Jess Carter. Driving left. She loves a dribble, Lauren Hemp. And she does well to get the ball into the area and just keeps it alive here, Aggie Beaver-Jones. And just it's wave after wave of England attack. Great to see.
Wow. What a start this is from the Lionesses here on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Portugal in possession on the halfway line. We'll be heading for an update from the Northern Ireland game shortly, but as Portugal work it back into their own half, England will be able to tidy up at the back. So let us head for an update from Northern Ireland against Poland. Half-time, Nicola McCarthy.
Yes, unfortunately not such good news for Northern Ireland. They trail Poland by 3-0 here in Belfast. They were shaken, Northern Ireland, after they found themselves 1-0 down within just a minute, and to be honest, they haven't really recovered from that. They went into tonight's match knowing that a win would keep alive their hopes of winning this group and automatic promotion to the top tier. Even a point would be good enough to secure a promotion playoff with a game to spare, but even that seems very, very far away at the moment. Tanya Oxtoby's side, they're going to need a big second half in Belfast. As it stands, Northern Ireland 0, Poland 3.
And elsewhere in the Women's Nations League, the Republic of Ireland have scored late on away to Turkey. They now lead 2-1. That's in added time at the end of the second half there. So Portugal with the throw. Not had time to run through their lineup yet, so let's do that now. Pereira in goal. The back three of Borges, the former Chelsea player, Costa and Pinto, Fatima Pinto ahead of them. Norton, Jacinto, Silva the captain, Tatiana Pinto and Amado, but Amado and Norton will drop back to make a five where necessary, and Capetta and Deanna Silva up top as Hannah Hampton has it at the back. But Karen Bardsley, what about this start from England? 7 minutes gone, they lead 2-0.
It's tremendous, it really is. You can see that, you know, down this right hand side for England, Lucy Bronze is really getting forward, and the likes of Beth Mead inside.
And they're coming forward again. They're slicing Portugal apart, and that ball from Lauren Hemp just has too much on it for Aggie Beaver-Jones. And Ines Pereira, I think, will be delighted to get hold of the ball there.
No, Portugal will certainly be so happy to have this wave of attacks slowed down from England. But like I said, it's essentially 3v3, 3v4 in the back in Portugal's favour. But I think England are doing so well to kind of keep that pressure on.
Although Portugal could be in behind here. This is a decent run by Anna Capetta, but well dispossessed in the end. And here is Beth Mead, has it taken off her toes as Portugal looks to respond to this relentless England onslaught. 2-0 the Lionesses lead here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds in the early stages here at Wembley, as Portugal will pick it up just outside the centre circle. And they have it with Carol Costa on this left-hand side. Now Tatiana Pinto on the halfway line. But do you think England are playing with a bit of a point to prove here, Karen Bardsley?
It certainly does. I mean, I think so, yes, because against Belgium, let's have it honest, let's have it right. The first half was absolutely awful, wasn't it? You know, to concede, what was it, 3 goals in under 30
29 minutes. They were 3-0 down. It was a shocker.
It really was, yeah. And they showed a lot of resilience, you know, in order to come back. But I think, you know, there's a lot of youth out there at the moment, a lot of energy, lots of enthusiasm, and I think they want to obviously put their case forward to make sure that they are on the plane to Switzerland in the summer.
So Portugal with the throw over on the far side. As we say, so many strands to the game this evening. Victory, and England are 2-0 up already, would see England finish definitely in the top 2 in this group. That would mean they stay in League A for the World Cup qualifiers, as Portugal do well down that right hand side and win a corner to get to the Nations League final. They've got to win the group, but it's all about as well responding to the news of Mary Earps' shock retirement this week and giving Serena Wiegmann a bit of food for thought when it comes to naming that Euro squad. I mean, talk about Aggie Beaver-Jones. I mean, Alessia Russo, joint Golden Boot winner in the WSL this season, just won the Champions League with Arsenal. She will be England's number 9 at the tournament. as Portugal play this corner short. But Beaver-Jones is trying to stake a real claim to give Serena Wigman a bit of a headache as Portugal play the ball into the area. It's headed away but not cleared well by England. In the end, hacked clear by Keira Walsh on the edge of the penalty area. That wasn't great defending from the Lionesses, and that's the sort of concentration Serena Wigman will want to see as Portugal flick the ball towards goal. Oh, it's off the post. Hannah Hampton was scrambling. Did she get a touch? No, she didn't. Portugal are appealing for a corner, but it bounces off the post, and after England's very bright start indeed, they almost saw Portugal pull a goal back there. 10 minutes gone, the Lionesses still lead 2-0.
It's difficult when you're defending deep and you don't squeeze out to the ball and get pressure on it, because you're kind of in this no man's land. You fail to clear any sort of pressure, and then the opposition has a free shot on target, and I think Hannah Hampton was caught a bit high, and hence why that shot struck the post.
So England in possession with the ball outside their own penalty area. Here is Keira Walsh, plays it to Esme Morgan. What a huge opportunity for her to impress, as well as Jess Carter picks it up in that left back position. Just won the CONCACAF Women's Champions Cup, the inaugural edition, with her club side Gotham, the former Chelsea player, and she fisses the ball out to this right hand side to Lucy Bronze. But England playing with freedom, playing with confidence, leading by 2-0, both goals scored in the opening 5 minutes, as that ball will go out for an England throw, taken quickly by Lucy Bronze. Here is Beth Mead, down the right hand side she goes. She has red shirts surrounding her, but does well to retain possession, helped out by Lucy Bronze. But Mead then gives the ball away. Portugal play the ball straight out of play with their captain Dolores Silva, and England have a throw deep in Portugal territory, leading 2-0.
Pressure's brilliant. They're absolutely suffocating Portugal. These white shirts are just in numbers. Fluid movement is just causing chaos to this Portuguese structure.
Lucy Bronze dinks the ball forward. It's cleared away once more by Portugal, helped on by Annika Petter, one of their two forwards who's dropped deep to help defend. England can't retain possession, and Portugal will bring it forward now with Andrea Norton, forced all the way back just outside the Portugal penalty area and played all the way back to Ines Pereira. Well, first real test we saw there for Hannah Hampton with that effort that hit the post. There is so much pressure on her shoulders this evening, isn't there? I mean, I'm sure that, well, she would have been aware that Serena Wigman, if she's telling the media, I'm sure she's having those conversations with Hannah Hampton, that, you know, she was a little bit ahead of Mary Earps and that ought to be number one, and may well have been confirmed in that. But still, you know, having to know that you're not going to have Mary Earps in camp, you know, helping you through the tournament with all that experience that she has, and knowing that, you know, if it was a close race before now, the other two goalkeepers in this squad, who may well be the goalkeepers for the Euros as well, Kiara Keating and Anna Morehouse, don't have a single England cap between them. Yeah, they're in the race now, whether they like it or not, aren't they? And I certainly would have hoped that, there would have been a bit more support, I think, around Hannah Hampton, and it's our responsibility as people in the media and as just people in general that want England to do well, to make sure we don't lump on unnecessary pressure onto Hannah Hampton, I think. So Portugal with the throw on this near side will be taken by Catarina Amado here at Wembley, as Francisco Neto watches on. As we say, over 11 years he's been in charge with Portugal. They have been shell-shocked by this rapid England start. It's been quite remarkable, though they had a bit of a shocker in their last match as well. Portugal, they did draw 1-1 with England, particularly good second half performance earlier in this Nations League campaign, but they were absolutely decimated by Spain in a very similar fashion in their last match. They lost 7-1, they were 3-0 down after 12 minutes. 14 minutes gone, and it's just the two for England so far, but it's been a great start. They've conceded a lot of goals in the last few fixtures, haven't they? Was it 4-2 as well with their previous fixture against Spain? Yeah. I mean, when teams play Spain, then you do think sometimes, I mean, that Spain can just do that to you, but yeah, really disappointing for Portugal to have those two heavy defeats, having really got themselves in a decent position to stay in League A. That's their aim. They've been very clear about that. They came into this game third in the group, having beaten Belgium and got that point off England, as England have a free kick over on the far side just inside the Portugal half, leading by 2-0. 13 minutes gone here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, as Jess Carter is then caught, and a few oohs from the England fans who think that maybe that is possibly worth a little more than a free kick, but it will just be the set piece and a talking to. And England will take this free kick over on the far side. But yeah, interesting, going back to Esme Morgan, I think she was the player that, kind of jumped out in terms of the absence of Millie Brighton. Again, whether Serena Wiegman is thinking about possibly trying out players ahead of the Euros and finalising that squad. But you'd think that Morgan and Le Tissier would both be there or thereabouts, but
I think Serena
it is
Wiegman,
a talking point.
Yeah, Serena Wiegman certainly said, didn't she, that she sees Maya Le Tissier more as a right back, which I always think was really interesting. So she does so phenomenally well for Manchester United in those central areas. I can remember some fantastic goals from this season, particularly one where she just plays this brilliant pass, this line-breaking pass straight into Tooney, receives on the back foot, she's off, she sets Melvine Mallard in, and it's a delightful pass. She has that range in her.
Well, right back is a position that she can play as well, but as you say, she is just excelling at centre half at Manchester United. So talking points abound as England concede a free kick just inside their own half, and Portugal again trying to recover from this early decimation that they've faced. In the opening 5 minutes, Aggie Beever-Jones and Lucy Bronze scoring to put England 2-0 up, and with 16 minutes gone.
That's good from Hannah Hampton.
Yes, as Hannah Hampton takes a good catch there, Karen.
No, in terms of her start position in behind the back line, you can see that Portugal really have one direct option in behind, looking for the space, and she's alert to it, takes care of it, no problems, nice and clear. That's what she needs to do, is keep things simple with all the noise around her.
Foul goes the way of England, much to Portugal's displeasure. Did look a little bit harsh there. England in possession through Leah Williamson, the England captain who won the Champions League with Arsenal. What a performance that was against Barcelona. I mean, I've spoken to several people in the England women's media pack, as it were, who followed Williamson for a long time, and one of them saying that quite simply that was the best performance he's ever seen from her. She was absolutely outstanding.
No, she really was. I don't think there was a foul committed, from that back line. So talk about a disciplined defending performance. And I don't know about you, Vicky, but was that kind of an unexpected result?
But yeah, I mean, I think the performance that Arsenal put in as Portugal have a throw on the halfway line, trailing England by 2-0 here at Wembley. I have not, in all my years of commentating and many years of being a football fan before that, seen a tactical master plan executed quite so perfectly as England might execute this well. Lauren Hemp into the penalty area, just took the ball ahead of her, and she goes down to the byline, forced out of the box. Lucy Bronze then loses it. Hemp picks it back up, swings it in left-footed. Jess Park was in there, but it's over her head and out for a Portugal goal kick.
That's a good example of Inês Pereira and the Portuguese goal, in terms of a start position. Not needing to get involved, just keeping the threat away from goal, as Lauren Hemp is essentially dribbling nowhere. But that is something so dangerous that Lauren Hemp offers, that speed on the break, a little through ball, then that she's off, and it's very, very close to being offside, but really well timed in the end.
So Portugal goal kick elsewhere in this group. It's still goalless between Belgium and Spain. That match is just over half an hour gone. So as things stand, England have edged ahead of Spain on head-to-head at the top of this group. As the ball is cleared away by Inês Pereira out to the left-hand side, bounces past Grace Clinton, who will allow it to go for an England throw, which Lucy Bronze will take. But yes, just going back to Leah Williamson in the Champions League, I interviewed her yesterday for 5 Live and said, in terms of the players like yourself, Chloe Kelly, Alessia Russo, those lionesses, Beth Mead and yourself, the confidence that must give you going into the Euros, having just pulled off one of the greatest results against a Barcelona team that are so wonderful, as Portugal win a throw midway through their own half. And she did say, yes, well, I do think several of the Barcelona players and several of my own Arsenal teammates, Mariona Caldente of Spain, perhaps foremost among them, might have something to say about that in terms of what momentum it will give them going into the Euros too. But certainly for the Lionesses, that is a huge positive to have, Chelsea's players coming off the back of a treble in England, and Arsenal's players coming off the back of winning a Champions League, as Portugal win a free kick midway through their own half.
It's been a wild season, isn't it, when you really start to reflect on it? But yeah, a lot of success obviously domestically for Chelsea and Arsenal on that stage. I think for me, I'm looking on with envious eyes, with my Manchester City background. It's certainly a trophy I would have loved to have been able to lift, but yeah, to say that you are ultimately the best team in Europe must set the bar surely for the club going forward next season.
So Portugal in possession, England leading by 2-0. Those Portugal fans away to our right in the lower stand are still waving their red and green flags and banging their drums. Their spirits haven't been dampened by what was a quite shocking start in this game, in truth, as Hannah Hampton takes the touch inside her own penalty area very calmly, away from Anna Capetta, and then good distribution out to the left hand side, and Jess Carter, lovely turn by Lauren Hemp, who's looking so lively. Her first England appearance since October after recovering from that knee injury. She finds Jess Park, who works it down the left hand side. Beaver Jones is in the centre, it's behind Beaver Jones, cleared away by Tatiana Pinto. Portugal have a player down just inside the England half. That was at the start of that England move. Our referee from Denmark, Frida Karland, is happy to let play continue. Jess Carter is now saying, why don't you put the ball out? Portugal didn't, so Carter gets the foot in and clears it away. There's been a goal in the match between Northern Ireland and Poland. Nicola McCarthy.
Yes, indeed, Katie, a disaster start here to the second half for Northern Ireland. Poland scoring to make it 4-0 here at Seaview. Northern Ireland were 3-0 down at half-time. They came out and they've unfortunately gone another goal behind. It's now, Katie, I would imagine a case of damage limitation here in Belfast. Northern Ireland 0, Poland 4.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. So it's Anna Borja, it looks like, who's down over on that far side for Portugal. So the medical staff are on. England leading by 2-0 midway through this first half. At the tennis at the French Open, Carlos Alcaraz has taken the first set 6-1 in the night session. Commentary is over on Sports Extra 2. And England's players all together now, just outside the centre circle. And notable that it's not totally unusual, but Hannah Hampton has come up to join that gathering, Karen Bardsley, with Anna Borjas receiving treatment over on the far side. And if you're an England player, as Beth Mead and Grace Clinton get a drink as well, I'll ask you in a moment what you would be discussing as these England players, but let's head for an update from the cricket. Daniel Norcross.
Well, England have won convincingly. They won by 108 runs off the back of twin centuries from their openers Tammy Beaumont and Amy Jones, her very first in international cricket in her 191st innings. That target of 346 was just too much for the West Indies. They got off to that good start, 91 for the first wicket, but 5 wickets for Lindsay Smith on her debut. A terrific performance from her. Couple for Em Arlott also on debut, and it was Lauren Bell that delivered the coup de grace. West Indies bowled out for 237. England win by 108.
Thanks very much, Daniel. Now midway through the first half here at Wembley in the Women's Nations League, and we are seeing the Mexican waves go around already. So yes, as the players break away and Borges back up to her feet and getting ready to continue for Portugal, what would those England players have been discussing?
I think it's really just more of the same, really. You know, keeping the ball speed up. I think, listen, something they've done today already is capitalise on the chances that they've created nice and early. And one of the notes I wrote to myself was England have to put this game to bed as soon as they possibly can, because this Portuguese team, although there's injuries, key players missing, they are very, very skillful. They like to build attacks but play really, really quickly, so you still have to be alert. So the fact that England are currently 2-0 up, happy days, they'll be feeling like they are in control.
And playing well. They've just won a corner as the Mexican wave. Oh, it's got good momentum as it ripples past us. This one's been going for a while. So England leading by 2-0. Reminder, a victory would see them finish in the top 2 in this Nations League group, and that is important because it keeps them in League A for the 2027 World Cup qualifiers. In fact, the ball has gone out for a throw in the Portuguese half, and it will be taken by Jess Carter, who works it back to Jess Park, and now all the way back to Leah Williamson, spreads it out to the left-hand side, and Carter once more fed forward now to Lauren Hemp, who's looked so lively since making this first appearance for England since October. She has been a real miss for them, struggling with that knee injury, 5.5 months out. Hasn't played 90 minutes yet this year on her return for Manchester City, as Portugal head the ball behind. This time it does go for the corner. England leading by 2-0. But
what, Vicky,
huge player for England to have back in the build-up to the Euros.
She doesn't look like she skipped a beat, does she? She really looks exactly the same as before she got injured. You know, the way she changed direction, the speed, the aggression, the intensity, just what this England attack needs.
Spain have taken the lead away to Belgium. That match is approaching half-time, so they temporarily go top of the group ahead of England again as England swing the ball into the area, laid off by Grace Clinton, but won't quite break for Kira Walsh on the edge of the area. Walsh getting her first England goal after so long in that 5-0 win over Belgium last month. This is her 85th cap. She's becoming quite prolific. She scored 3 goals for Barcelona as well this season, including 2 in one game, which is the first time she's scored a brace in her career. Says that she wasn't really sure how to celebrate because normally she doesn't score 2 in a season. As Grace Clinton comes down this right-hand side. England leading 2-0. Oh, wicked ball in by Lucy Bronze. Oh, brilliant. Super finish. In off the bar. And England are 3-0 up against Portugal after 27 minutes. They just cannot handle the Lionesses at the moment. No marking in the centre, and again it's Aggie Beever-Jones on the score sheet. What a game she's having. What a message to Serena Wiegmann. She is seizing her chance and then some, with Alessia Russo out injured for this game. Played through the middle and she's taking full advantage. It's terrible defending by Portugal. She's completely unmarked, but the header in off the bar was a good one, and England lead 3-0.
Oh, it's unbelievable, Vicky. It really is. I mean, it's just so easy. Portugal are just absolutely getting carved open with the ball in behind for Grace Clinton, and it's set so perfectly for Lucy Bronze to just shape into the area. And Aggie Beever-Jones cannot believe how much space she's in. Her eyes just must be so wide open, but she heads it home beautifully, doesn't she? Past the outstretched hands of the Portuguese goalkeeper.
A little bit of defending for England to do at the back, and Hannah Hampton does that well. The big up and under up towards halfway. Portugal win the header, but it will be picked up by Jess Carter. Let's get an update from Scotland's game against Austria. Gavin Wallace.
Yeah, Vicky, Scotland 0, Austria 0. Austria a couple of decent chances. Scotland with a really good one on 15. It was a reverse pass from Caroline Weir deep into the box. Erin Cuthbert just dragged the shot ever so wide. The pressure on Scotland, but 35 gone. Scotland 0, Austria 0.
Thanks very much, Gavin. Yes, Scotland will be relegated if they don't beat Austria. So real pressure for Scotland this evening as they look to try and get something out of this Women's Nations League game. And of course, like England, like Wales and Northern Ireland, everybody's thinking about the positionings, the relegations and promotions for those World Cup qualifiers for 2027. All going very nicely for England here at Wembley. 3-0 up against Portugal. A victory will see them finish in the top 2 of this Nations League group and stay in League 8, which is what they want to do for those World Cup qualifiers, as Hannah Hampton pings the ball out to the left-hand side and Jess Carter collects, pulls it back to Esme Morgan. But what about Aggie Beever-Jones, Karen Barsley? What a game she's having.
Get her on the plane right now. I think, no, she's been tremendous, hasn't she? And she's carried, like I said, this form on from Chelsea into this England shirt. But for me, I think it's just, she found herself in so much space. You still have to finish the job, don't you?
Oh, she's on a hat-trick. That ball won't reach her. It's cleared away by Anna Borg, who is back on after picking up that knock earlier. Hemp is then well dispossessed, but then wins it back. England are playing with such verve, such flair here at Wembley on 5 Live and BBC Sounds as Portugal get a foot in. England pick it up once more. A lovely ball almost finds Aggie Beever-Jones inside the penalty area, but it's cleared away by Fatima Pinto, and she gets the deflection as well, and the ball goes out of play for a Portugal throw, but they're looking demoralised. You can see the body language. You've got shoulders slumped, you've got heads down. As we say, they were absolutely thumped in their last match by the reigning world champion Spain, 7-1, 3-0 down here against England. Just 28 minutes gone. It's hard for that not to be running through the minds of those Portugal players who did draw 1-1 with England earlier in this campaign, as Beth Mead into the penalty area. Oh, brilliant footwork, Mead, super! That is an absolutely outstanding goal from Beth Mead, and England are tearing Portugal apart. This is a super display by the Lionesses. They are at it today, and if they had a bit of a point to prove after the shock retirement of Mary Earps this week, they're proving it in style. 4-0 they lead against Portugal, and we haven't even played half an hour.
Serena Wiegmann looks bored already. Look at that. Wow. Beth Mead, what a fantastic goal. She does so well to just chop and change, get the ball outside to inside, move the defender and open up the goal for a lovely little finish. But again, it's Aggie Beever-Jones, isn't it? Dropping in from that central area for a little set into Jess Park, and a lovely slipped through ball and even a cheeky Megs. Beth Mead, that should be framed. That is lovely. I like that a lot.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Poor Caterina Amado. What a goal, what a bit of skill from Beth Mead, who came on in the Champions League final and provided the assist for the winner. And again, you can just see the confidence that some of these players are taking from the end of the domestic season into this game. Portugal on the attack will be heading to Denmark-Wales shortly. In fact, Portugal have won a free kick over on the far side. So, full-time Denmark-Wales, Chris Coles.
Defeat for Wales in Denmark, Vicky, resulting in relegation from the top tier of the Nations League. Pernilla Harder with the only goal of the game just after half-time. But Wales again showing they can mix it with Europe's best. One final Nations League game against Italy to come on Tuesday, and then it's to Switzerland for their first major tournament and that fiendishly difficult group. Full-time in Odense, Denmark 1, Wales 0.
Thanks very much, Chris. Yes, Wales in England's group, Netherlands and France await as well. It is so tough as Portugal swing the ball into the England penalty area. It's eventually cleared away by Beth Mead, who has just scored England's fourth here at Wembley on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, as Leah Williamson applauds that defending and plays it to Hannah Hampton. After a difficult week for the Lionesses and Serena Wiegmann and the squads, you know, Wiegmann admitting to 5 Live that it was a bit of a shock for the players, you know, that decision by Mary Earps. It was very difficult to get too much out of Serena Wiegmann at the press conference, which wasn't surprising. You know, of course, as a manager, she wants to protect the conversations that she's had with Mary Earps. She wouldn't say when she knew that Earps was considering about retiring, just kept repeating that she was really disappointed. It was hard, it was emotional, of course, because you have a relationship with the player. But it's been a tough week for them. It's not what they would have wanted to deal with 5 weeks out from the Euros and in the build-up to 2 big games as England lose possession. And here goes Norton driving towards the area. Beth Mead makes the challenge but doesn't really get anything on it. Norton's shot eventually is blocked on the edge of the area and just Carter will clear away. But if she wanted a response, and of course she will have done, she couldn't have asked for a better one so far from England as they lead 4-0 with 31 minutes gone in the first half here at Wembley.
In so many ways, Vicky, in so many ways. As you're right, you know, it was disappointing news that came out earlier this week, and, you know, even Leah Williamson said that, you know, she asked Mary Earps to stay and reconsider because, listen, she is going to be a big miss, but in the midst of all of that, with the smiles and the freedom and the energy that I can see on these players' faces on this pitch in front of me, it's delightful to see, to be honest, because in some recent games over the course of this year, it certainly didn't look like it was going to be all smiles, did it?
Oh, that's a great ball by Williamson, and flag stays down. Aggie Beever-Jones on a hat-trick and gets it! Aggie Beever-Jones, take a bow! Wow! What a game this woman is having! What a game the Lionesses are having! They lead Portugal by 5-0.
And just listen to that. Are you not entertained? I'm running out of rubber on my eraser because I keep having to make so many tally marks. Aggie Beever-Jones is on to an absolute winner. What a lovely little run. Bit too easy for me from the Portuguese defense, but she decides, hey, I'm on one. Taking it myself, driving into the area, and it's a nice cool finish. Really well-timed run and an even better delivery. And she's in by herself. And the composure here, she's still got a lot to do. Gets into the area, takes a nice little touch, puts it on the right, creates some separation, and puts it right across the keeper, right where it belongs in the side of the net.
If you're a keeper beaten at your near post, I mean, it's a good strike from Beever-Jones, but will Pereira be a little bit disappointed by that?
Yeah, definitely. I think when she takes that touch out of her feet, Aggie Beever-Jones, Pereira should have just taken another step to her left to close the angle. Disappointing, but she had some pace on it as well. But yeah, listen, today I'm biased. I'm in Aggie Beever-Jones' corner.
Portugal in possession just outside the centre circle. Well, I tell you what, 10 minutes ago I said, well, of course Alessia Russo is going to be England's number 9 at the Euros.
Well, you're going to be eating your words.
Aggie Beever-Jones. I mean, but this is exactly what Serena Wiegmann wants, isn't it? I mean, it wasn't in dispute that Beever-Jones was going to be in the squad, but these are the sort of decisions that she wants to be thinking about. And, you know, we've seen the impact that Russo herself made as a substitute off the bench at the Euros in 2022. more goals than any other player has scored at a single edition of the Euros, Alessia Russo, including that delicious back heel against Sweden, which got her a Puskás nomination from FIFA. But that was as key to England winning the Euros, the way that the substitutes worked, as it was the way that the starting 11 worked as well. And this is just so positive for the Lionesses, for Sarina Wiegman, and of course for Aggie Beever-Jones.
It's sublime, isn't it, really? I think getting the blend of the player right in the squad, the composition of the team is so important. You know, you've got Alessia Russo, who's, you know, a little bit slightly different to Aggie Beever-Jones, you know, in terms of she can hold up play with her back to goal, she can run in behind. She's got that infamous roll that she does. She just rolls a defender and has a quick shot. And Aggie Beever-Jones has a little bit more mobility, not being disrespectful, but she loves to run the channels as well. And I think they complement each other really nicely.
England in possession, nice little interchange of passes, but Beever-Jones won't latch onto that. Lucy Bronze almost did, closing down, but it's all the way back with the Portuguese goalkeeper, all in grey, Inês Pereira. It's Portugal working up towards the halfway line. I think one of the fascinating things about Aggie Beever-Jones as well, when you compare her to Alessia Russo, she actually had, Beever-Jones, a better goals per minute, per 90-minute ratio in the WSL this season than Russo. Was just parking into the area, little foot in from Portugal will concede the corner. But so Beever-Jones scoring 9 goals in the WSL to Russo's 12. Russo joint Golden Boot winner along with Khadija Shaw. But when you look at that goals per 90-minute ratio, the fact that Beever-Jones's was better, again, you know, it's not necessarily going to be a completely straightforward decision. Well, Russo just won the Champions League, to be fair, but Beever-Jones has won the treble. I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches up front for England.
It's a nice problem to have for Sarina Wiegman, isn't it? I certainly wouldn't want to be here at this moment in time.
Portugal have been poor, and that comes into it as well. The defending, they will face better at the Euros, England, but take nothing away from this hat-trick for Aggie Beever-Jones as Lauren Hemp plays the ball in. Portugal make first contact inside their own 6-yard box. Jess Park picks it back up, but the red shirts are back in numbers, clear away. They're so deep though, Portugal, and Kira Walsh. That's a lovely ball picked up on this right-hand side by Park, and now Lauren Hemp, who's stayed out on the right after taking the corner, now swings the ball in left-footed. Portugal again managed to clear away, but England will pick it up inside the centre circle. And, you know, if you're Portugal, 37 minutes gone, you're 5-0 down. I mean, this is humbling. This is as humbling as their last match against Spain, which they eventually lost 7-1. And this is a side that played so well against England in the second half in their opening game back in February. They drew 1-1. Yes, they've never beaten England in their history. This is their 12th meeting. In fact, they've never even scored against England on English soil. It's their 5th game of that ilk, but they have been desperately poor, and as England win a throw on the far side, it's that consistency, isn't it? Sometimes they can give you a game, Portugal, and sometimes they do what they're doing tonight.
Yeah, I think we have to contextualise it as well. I think the first time that obviously England met Portugal in Portugal, they had slightly more players available, didn't they? Obviously Kika Nazare as well, you know, an absolute standout player for Barcelona, has been consistently available over the course of this campaign as well. So I think they are missing some key players, some key experience, and you know, what I would expect to see from a Francisco Neto side is something slightly more organised, something slightly more structured in the midfield, harder to break down, and it's just not been there tonight.
But we've got to praise England as well. I mean, they really came out of the block so quickly, 2-0 up after just 5 minutes as Portugal bring the ball over halfway, but good foot in from Jess Carter, and it's all the way back with Hannah Hampton. Half time, Scotland Austria, Gavin Wallace
0-0, Scotland 0, Austria 0. We said about Scotland with a really good chance on 15 minutes, that reverse pass. Austria went up the park there just a few minutes ago. They hit the bar, it was a lovely ball in. Hickelsberger just loses her marker, hits it off the bar. That's been the chance of the game. As it stays right now, Scotland would still be relegated. They have to win. Scotland 0, Austria 0.
Thanks very much, Gavin, as Hannah Hampton has the ball inside the penalty area. Yes, Wales already relegated from League A this evening. Scotland hoping not to go the same way as it stands here. And I mean, as a commentator, I'm never going to call it in the first half. But England 5-0 up. They're going to finish in the top 2. And that means they'll stay in League A for World Cup qualifying, and that's one of the key things they can secure tonight. As Lucy Bonds plays the ball into the area, headed away from the edge of the 6-yard box by Carol Costa for Portugal, but they're making a bit of a mess of clearing it. In the end, the referee's whistle helps them out, Frida Karland, and they have a free kick on the edge of their own penalty area. So Karen, you know, we've talked about Aggie Beever-Jones in terms of her performance. We've talked about the liveliness of Lauren Hemp making her first England appearance since October after 5.5 months out with a knee injury. Who else has caught your eye for the Lionesses this evening?
Well, I mean, Aggie Beever-Jones has been hogging the spotlight, really, hasn't she? And Lauren Hemp is, it's just a delight to see her back on the pitch. I think, you know, obviously Beth Mead getting on the score sheet as well is impressed so far, but you know, Lucy Bronze is always putting in a shift down England's right, isn't she? She's constantly getting it up, supporting the England attack, making sure it can be sustained as long as possible. So it's really hard to choose at this moment in time. The defenders are always going to do things simply, aren't they? It's not going to be anything spectacular, and certainly against the Portuguese side playing like this at the moment, it shouldn't cause too many threats. But for me, switching hats a little bit to my goalkeeper hat, I want a clean sheet.
Yes, that will be one of the key objectives now for Serena Wiegman, Hannah Hampton and the rest of that England back line as Beth Mead nicks the ball, swings it in, and at the far post Lauren Hemp was sliding in and just can't make contact, and the ball spins behind for a Portugal goal kick. But beautiful play from Beth Mead.
Really, really lovely. She's just got too much time though. It's far too easy for her, a player of her quality and calibre. And, you know, Amato is just having an absolute torrid time tracking back and trying to stop her getting any crosses in. It just looks like the floodgates are going to continue to stay open, doesn't it?
Yeah, Portugal 5-0 down, already starting to take their time over these goal kicks just to give themselves a bit of respite here at Wembley on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. 4 minutes plus added time to play as Inês Pereira, the goalkeeper, waves her Portuguese teammates forward in those bright red shirts, trot up towards halfway. We will have commentary of England's final Women's Nations League game away to Spain, Barcelona on Tuesday. It's a 6 o'clock kickoff UK time. Our coverage will start at 10 to 6 after 5 Live Drive. And of course tomorrow do join us on 5 Live for the Champions League final, Paris Saint-Germain against Inter Milan, live from Munich, our team in the stadium. As Inês Pereira picks up the ball just outside her own penalty area, and out to the left-hand side she goes to Carol Costa as Serena Wiegman in her cream top and dark trousers clasps her hands behind her back and watches on from her technical area. And you would think there would be multiple changes in this second half. They can make 5. It is a competitive game, so they have the opportunity to bring 5 players on, but perhaps returns for England for Alex Greenwood and Georgia Stanway, who's not played for club or country since December after her knee injury. An opportunity perhaps for Michelle Adjimang after such an impressive performance off the bench, scoring on her debut against Belgium in the last match after 41 seconds. But that's not the key thing. The key thing is how brilliant the goal was. Controlled it on her thigh, volleyed it in. It was a super finish from the youngster. As England work it nicely down this right-hand side. Here is Lucy Bronze, plays the ball in. It's intercepted by Portugal and Tatiana Pinto and cleared out to the left-hand side, but that won't be kept in by Fatima Pinto, and the ball goes out of play for an England throw. Karen Bardsley.
Just had flashbacks to the Adjumang goal, and I just think like it deserves more time and more description because it was just tremendous and a lovely display of skill, really, and a good ball in from Leah Williamson. But the way she brought it down, cushioned it, and then had the awareness just to hit it first time on the volley. It was beautiful.
Here come England. Aggie Beever-Jones into the penalty area, pulls the ball across. It's cleared away by Portugal. Comes to Grace Clinton, edge of the D as England look for a 6th before half-time here at Wembley in the Women's Nations League here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Oh, it's brilliant work by Hemp down the left-hand side once again. Ball in, Portugal getting in a mess. It comes to Mead. She lays it off unselfishly. It was a tight angle, but Portugal get the foot in. And the chance is gone for England. They've got to throw deep in Portugal territory, and still they lead 5-0.
Fantastic balls in from wide areas. They're just absolutely delicious crosses. They're so tantalising. You just can't help but try to get on the end of them. But I also can't help but think there must have been some messages going on. Like if you're going to get to 4 or 5-0, you're going to come off. We're going to make some changes. So the girls must know that they've only got a handful of moments left to get on the score sheet.
England still working hard down this right-hand side. Here is Lucy Bronze, receives the ball from Aggie Beever-Jones and now plays it back to England's hat-trick heroine. And she does well. Good persistence, Aggie Beever-Jones. Chelsea's top scorer of the season as they won the treble. But it's interesting as well as Beever-Jones is forced back towards halfway. She doesn't always start for them. She plays very regularly, started more than she did last season. But again, you know, the fact that she gets the numbers that she does, 13 goals in all competitions, without starting every single game, it's just remarkable.
I think that's why, like, her versatility is so exciting. Her mobility is really exciting to me. You know, she can play centrally, she can play off the left, off the right. She loves to run into the channel. She likes to create overloads, and she's just constantly a pain in the backside, frankly, for a defender. You don't know where she's going to be. She's always asking questions. She's not easy to mark, and I think that is why she's so easy to just kind of drop into certain situations, because you know she's just going to cause chaos, and even if she doesn't benefit, someone else will.
Portugal in possession inside their own penalty area with Inês Pereira, but they're just trying to limp to half-time. Portugal 5-0 down as we enter 3 minutes of added time. It has been a super performance from England in this first half as Portugal look to build down the right-hand side. I think the only slight critique that Serena Wiegmann might have, and of course she'll be looking at, you know, every single aspect of this performance as England win a free kick just inside the Portugal half. There have been a few nervy moments defensively, particularly after they went 2-0 up so early on inside the opening 5 minutes, just lost concentration a little bit, and a better side would have punished them.
Exactly. I think, you know, you really have to have that positional discipline, particularly as a defender, particularly as a central or defensive midfielder, because, you know, sometimes if we play with a single pivot in midfield, you can be quite exposed if you lose possession, and if your centre backs are quite split, then yeah, opportunity straight down the throat of an England defence if you're not careful.
Here goes Leah Williamson, plays it forward to Aggie Beever-Jones, who lays it off to Lucy Bronze. England leading by 5-0 here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, and Beth Mead is now flagged offside, so that will be a free kick to Portugal. Just thinking about other kind of team squad selection debates as well. We've talked about Esme Morgan coming in because Millie Bright isn't available for these couple of games. Obviously, Aggie Beever-Jones through the middle. She did start the last game against Belgium, but through the middle with the absence of Russo and Hemp coming back in because she's back from injury. But Jess Carter preferred ahead of Niamh Charles. I mean, is that left-back spot up for discussion ahead of the Euros as Portugal, lovely control inside the penalty area as they look to get a goal back here. It's Catarina Amado, still inside the box, lays it off to the edge of the area where Norton will pick it up. Laid off now to Jacinto, who drives a low shot in. She didn't catch it cleanly. It's blocked away by England, who are off on the counter. Here's Aggie Beever-Jones, lays it off to Jess Park, and here goes Park, head down over the halfway line. She's being well pursued by Anna Borges, the former Chelsea player, and then Tatiana Pinto gets back as well and gets the foot in. A little bit of pushing there between the Portuguese player. In fact, it's Anna Capetta over on that far side, and the referee blows the whistle for full-time, half-time I should say. I think Portugal wish it was full-time because they trail by 5-0. I wondered if there'd be a little bit more. I tell you what, no, she's not actually done it. So half the players started walking off, all the fans started leaving.
TV cameras are gone.
The TV cameras have started leaving, and in fact she's actually given a free kick to Portugal, and it's all the way back with Inês Pereira, and we still have a few seconds left in this game. Bit of confusion here at the end of this first half. The fans quickly retake their seats in case England are going to score a sixth.
I don't think they're going to miss anything, to be honest.
Yeah, Portugal are just passing it around their own penalty area, so that does give us time to quickly, you know, comment on that left back position. And Jess Carter, who's had a good game.
No, she has. She's had her hands full up against Andrea Jacinto on that right-hand side. She's quite a physical player, but we'll touch on that later, Vicky.
Well, there we go. There is definitively half-time. And what a half it's been for England. A 5-star performance, 5 goals and a hat-trick for Aggie Beever-Jones in the absence of the injured Alessia Russo. She is certainly showing Serena Wiegmann what she can do. Lucy Bronze and Beth Mead also on the score sheet. And Karen, how much is this of England being brilliant or Portugal being pretty pathetic?
I don't mean to be disrespectful, but Portugal have been very bad, very poor. Their defensive line has been porous, easy to run through, but ultimately we've seen that England have had trouble doing this in terms of converting their chances into goals in the past. So the fact that we are currently 5-0 up at halftime is music to my ears, frankly, and the form that Aggie Beever-Jones is in at the moment, involved in all 5 goals. Wow. unbelievable. So lots to look forward to, I think, hopefully to the second half, but the summer.
And I've got to say, the way they started as well, regardless of, how poorly Portugal have gone on and played, England started like women on a mission. We know the disruption that the shock retirement of Mary Earps has caused this week, the questions that they've had to field, the fact that it's 5 weeks out from a major tournament, your number 2 goalkeeper suddenly retires. It has been a difficult week for the Lionesses, and the way they started, you just got the sense that, that they were clearly very aware of that, perhaps just wanted to prove a point that actually this team is strong, this team is united, and this team is ready for the European Championships and to try and defend their crown. It's been a brilliant first half. England lead 5-0 against Portugal at the break.
Well, there was so much to like about that, Karen, and Aggie Beever-Jones, let's go back to your favourite subject in that first half, a hat-trick for her at Wembley. And I wrote next to her name when she scored the first goal and then the second goal, obviously back up to Alessia Russo, number 9 at the Euros. And then she scored the third goal, and I started doing what Vicky did, which was starting to think, is she the number 9? Are we going too far here?
Possibly, yeah, I do think possibly. I think Alessia Russo has obviously done it over the course of the season, hasn't she, consistently for England, well, relatively consistently, more so for Arsenal as well. But I think it's nice to know that there are 2 potential options at number 9, and I think you consider what Serena Wiegmann might have to be up against, slightly different opposition, needs more mobility, needs more strength. Now she's got an arsenal to choose from, pardon the pun, but it's a good problem to have, isn't it? It reminds me of... Go on.
On the Arsenal subject, I did see a close-up of a little girl in the crowd in an Arsenal shirt, absolutely going crazy for that Aggie Beever-Jones hat-trick, and I thought, oh dear.
What a juxtaposition that is, huh? It's like another universe. But no, this is reminding me of vintage England, I'll be honest, casting myself back to 2022 when, Vicky mentioned that back heel from Alessia, just the magic around this team. I don't want to, wax lyrical about this moment because I think Portugal have been poor, but amongst the noise and everything around it, it's just so wonderful to see the girls with smiles on their face and look like they're really enjoying themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Although a word of caution, going back to our starting point, which was the yo-yo form of England recently, that team is the team that England drew with 1-1 earlier in the campaign. A couple of changes, of course, but that's slightly the problem with England, is at the moment we really aren't quite sure which side are going to come out.
I think, to be fair, I think England learned their lesson. I think in that game against Portugal, Neto, the manager, made some really deft changes in going from a 3-5-2 to a 4 in the back, and then just adding in Keegan Nazareth as well had limited minutes, so going to a 4-3-3 and just made it really, really difficult, and England struggled to adjust in the moment, and that's when they capitalise, isn't it? And I think England have learned from that, and I think that is the most important thing to take away. Is we are where we are now. We're no longer drawing 1-1, and we're 5-0 up, so I'll take the positive.
Can I also just say how fantastic it is to see Lauren Hemp back, as though she'd never played for England before, as though her life depended on her, down that left-hand side, basically setting up that goal for Lucy Bronze, the second one. Oh, have we missed her?
She's unbelievable, isn't she? Just the pace, the aggression, the passion. She loves to attack, but, I think what she's really added to her game, from when I saw her coming through the ranks at Manchester City and then where she is now, she's added that defensive grit and bite to her game as well. So she's happy to track back, dispossess, and then set her teammate off again. But for me, the variety of crosses, she can set the ball up in terms of height, she can drive it across the area, she can pull it back to the edge of the area, she has a finish and a wicked left foot. She likes to take players on. She's like a little Swiss Army knife, isn't she?
Perfect for Switzerland. I hear we're going there in 5 weeks.
Just what we need.
Karen and Vicky, thank you very much. So England 5 to the good at the break. Spain are leading in their match as well. They're a goal up away at Belgium. Let's check in on Northern Ireland up against Poland this evening. Nicola McCarthy.
Unfortunately, Disappointing night so far for Northern Ireland. They trail Poland by 4-0 with just under 10 minutes to go here in Belfast. It's been a disappointing night for Tanya Oxtoby's side. In truth, they've never really got going, never really got a foothold on this game. Those hopes of winning this group and automatic promotion to the top tier have faded away. Take nothing from Poland, they've been clinical tonight. All focus will now be on Northern Ireland's next and final game away to Bosnia. That's on Tuesday, where, as I understand, unless they lose by more than 2 goals, they will guarantee a promotion playoff place. But a disappointing night here tonight. Northern Ireland 0, Poland 4.
And to a must-win game for Scotland up against Austria. Gavin Wallace.
Yeah, Kate, we're just underway, a minute or so into the second half. Got an injury just now, but it's Scotland 0, Austria 0. And the big news, Rachel Corsie, Captain Corsie, has come on at half-time for Jenna Clark. She was given a big hand ovation. She's got the armband on and she's already talking players through what to do. 0-0 at Scotland.
Kevin, thank you very much. In Super League this evening, Hull KR are leading St Helens 12-4. You can hear commentary of that on Sports Extra 3. Salford Red Devils 0, Wigan Warriors 16 and Warrington Wolves 16. Castleford Tigers 6. Right, the time is 20-9 in the evening. Second half commentary to come. That's after the latest news on 5 Live with Bethan Holmes.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The former Sinn Féin leader, Gerry Adams, is to be awarded £84,000 in damages after winning his liable case against the BBC. He said a Spotlight programme and an online story had defamed him by alleging he sanctioned the killing of a British agent in 2006, which he denies. BBC Northern Ireland insisted its journalism was fair, responsible and in the public interest. The government sold its final shares in NatWest, ending state ownership, which began 17 years ago when the bank had to be bailed out during the 2008 financial crisis. Back then, the government spent £45 billion on the shares and has now sold them at a loss of £10.5 billion. The BBC understands a 25-year-old prison officer who was stabbed at HMP Longlarton in Worcestershire this morning has undergone emergency surgery. A source said the officer was not attacked with a prison-made weapon and it had somehow been brought in. And Donald Trump showered Elon Musk with compliments at a press conference to mark his billionaire backer's departure from the US government. He said he'd remain an advisor to the White House and the work of his cost-cutting department would continue.
The Champions League on BBC Radio 5 Live.
There's the final whistle, and Paris Saint-Germain are going to Munich.
Tomorrow night at 8, PSG face Inter Milan in the Champions League final.
Hakimi! Right foot! Bottom corner!
Inter have got the know-how as well. They want to finish this era with a title.
And hear all the analysis and reaction on the Football Daily podcast.
The Champions League. Listen live. Ask your smart speaker
to play BBC Radio 5 Live.
This is 5 Live Sport
with Katie Smith.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
5 Live Sport this Friday evening. It is England 5, Portugal 0 at Wembley. Second half commentary in the Women's Nations League to come. We're live in Paris as well as Carlos Alcaraz is closing in on a 2-0 lead as he is looking to book his spot, the defending champion, in the 4th round at Roland Garros. Elsewhere today, Trent Alexander-Arnold will become a Real Madrid player on Sunday, the 1st of June. This is after Liverpool accepted a fee of €10 million to release the defender early from his contract. However, there is a new signing coming into Anfield today as Jeremy Frimpong has completed his move from Bayer Leverkusen for £29.5 million. That's on a 5-year deal, and there could be more good news on Merseyside too, as Liverpool have entered into advanced negotiations with German midfielder Florian Wirtz for a fee of around £109 million. Elsewhere, Bruno Fernandes is giving serious consideration to quitting Manchester United next week and taking up a lucrative offer to join the Saudi Pro League club Al Hilal. And at the Spanish Grand Prix, it was championship leader Oscar Piastri who topped Friday's practice session, leading from the Mercedes of George Russell. Right, this time tomorrow we will be well underway into the Men's Champions League final. PSG take on Inter Milan. Our team will be live from Munich from midday here on 5 Live, building up to kick-off at 8 o'clock and taking you right through to the trophy lift, and correspondent John Murray joins us now. I hear you're fresh off the U-Bahn, John.
Yes, we've just made our way down from the stadium, and I've stepped off the U-Bahn at Münchner Freiheit, which is just to the north of Munich city centre, and I can officially say that the talking is over before this match tomorrow night. So at least the talking from the main protagonists, anyway, who've been keeping us entertained all afternoon and evening, and we've actually been able to watch the 2 training sessions as well inside the stadium this evening. So I would say both sides of this bullish. Luis Enrique particularly punchy, the Paris Saint-Germain coach, when he spoke to us late on in the evening here. But I think it's a very difficult one to call.
Well, it seems quite fitting, John, that we're talking to you from Paris, because it's been all the talk here. I don't know if people maybe don't know the geography of it, but Roland Garros, the site, less than a kilometre from the Parc des Princes. They're expecting 40,000 fans here tomorrow night. They're talking about a police presence of over 5,000. So to give any sense of how big this is, these are the fans coming to watch it in the stadium, not even in the city where it's being held.
Well, only a few weeks ago, after or before the second leg against Arsenal, I was walking around Roland Garros myself.
Yes, you need to tell me where this cafe is, where you were having all your pre-match food.
Yes, you need to. Well, I'm not sure whether I should be saying that on air or not, but we can't advertise.
No,
but it's. No. But it's not too far away from Porte de Saint-Cloud. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I would imagine a good deal of Paris has and is descending on Munich here. And actually, Ousmane Dembele today, the PSG players, Luis Enrique, Marquinhos, the captain, who's spent over 10 years there now. So he has seen the rise and the near things as well when they were in the final, the COVID final, which was played behind closed doors. So that's why as well this means so much to the PSG supporters to be actually here. But Ousmane Dembele, their 33-goal top scorer, said to us that he knows that, to quote him, Paris will be vibrating with excitement tomorrow. So you can testify to that. But as I say, Luis Enrique, very, very punchy, and at the same time, I think fascinating, because PSG, such a young team, and Inter, the oldest average starting age in the Champions League this season, and Simone Inzaghi, who was talking to us today, there's a bit of speculation about his future. They just missed out on winning the league again, but of course they could get the big prize here, having missed out on it 2 years ago in Istanbul against Manchester City. And he was asked about that today, his future, Simone Inzaghi, and he says, because you've asked me, he said, the senior management are here. So the president of Inter, Pepe Marotta, and he said they are going to sit together and have a chat next week. So what happens here tomorrow could have great bearing on that, while at the same time there is reported Saudi interest in Simone Inzaghi. So we'll see where that might end up. But of course, the concentration for Inter very much on this, and I think for many of the players for Inter, many of whom were involved in the final 2 years ago, this might be last chance, and that can be quite a big thing.
Yeah, and they've been convincing themselves they're underdogs. Whether we believe them, we wait to see tomorrow. John, thank you very much. You can just WhatsApp me the pin of the restaurant if you like. I'll take that. We don't have to talk about it on air. John Murray, our correspondent, will be back tomorrow, of course. 5 Live Sport from midday. We'll be crossing regularly to Munich before we bring you full live commentary and build up with Steve Crossman from 6:30. Talking of Ousmane Dembele, he was here at the draw of the French Open over a week ago now. We are into the proper hardcore stuff. It's day 6. It's the third round. Commentator Abigail Johnson alongside me here in the French capital, and Carlos Alcaraz, the defending champion. Yeah, going along nicely.
Oh, he's been really impressive tonight, Alcaraz. The night session here on Court Philippe Chatrier on the first of 2 days of third round action. And so many eyes on Alcaraz this year, defending champion, world number 2 at just 22 years old. He's a 4-time Grand Slam champion. The way he's acting now on court, Philippe Chatrier, is so encompassing of how he's displayed himself so far tonight. Chilled, balancing the tennis ball on the butt of his racket as he waits for his opponent, the world number 69, Damir Juma, to return to the main stage. 6-1, 6-3 in the first two sets. He's had weight of shot. He's had the tricks that we're so used to seeing from him, the drop shot, the off forehand. It really has been classic Carlos Alcaraz against an opponent he's not so familiar with, the 33-year-old world number 69, and he really does look on course to wrap up with the straight sets win.
So commentary of that continues over on BBC Sounds and 5 Sports Extra 2. Let's head back to Wembley then. Full live commentary to come. England 5, Portugal 0 as we enter the second half. Let's join the former England Lioness number 1 Karen Bardsley alongside Vicky Sparks.
Thanks, KTS. Welcome back to Wembley. Just under a minute played here in this second half, and what a first half performance it has been from England. As you say, they lead by 5-0. Aggie Beever-Jones with the hat-trick. Lucy Bronze and Beth Mead also on the score sheet. Portugal have made a change at half-time. A big player back from injury for them, Jessica Silva. She's replaced their captain, Dolores Silva. And Jessica Silva, having struggled with a detached retina, or a damaged retina I should say, that she picked up in training, which is such a horrible injury, but has been able to make it back for these Nations League games. But oh, wow, they need her to have some performance in this second half if they're even to get on the score sheet, because England have just been supreme as they are in possession just inside the Portugal half. Spread out to this left-hand side, and Leah Williamson, the England captain, and Karen Bardsley, what do you think England will look for in this second half in terms of substitution? We haven't seen any at half-time from the Lionesses, but as Jessica Silva picks it up and dinked forward once again as Portugal come forward, we'll take you through the full lineups in a moment, but substitutions are going to be so key for Serena Wiegmann, as she has just this game and the game against Spain on Tuesday to finalise those decisions about her squad for the Euros.
Yeah, indeed. I think if you look out on the pitch now, you've got Leah Williamson immediately, who I'm thinking, right, Champions League final, lots of games this season, just come off a long-term injury. Will we see Maya Letitia in the back line, whether she's going to be in the centre back or possibly if we see her at right back, if that is Serena Wiegmann's thinking? I think that could potentially be very interesting. But just managing the load is going to be important.
England in possession. Here is the hat-trick heroine, Aggie Beever-Jones, who is just one off the record of Caroline Moraes of 4 goals scored by a female player at Wembley. She scored them for Italy when they beat England 4-1 in a friendly. She's just the 3rd woman in history to get a Wembley hat-trick. The first, Beth Mead, the first Lioness to do that against Northern Ireland here a few years ago. What a night it's been for her. In for the injured Alessia Russo through the middle. She did play in the last match against Belgium, but played centrally this time. My word, hasn't she taken that chance, as England win a throw just inside the Portugal half. So Hampton in goal for England, of course, after the shock retirement of Mary Earps this week. Back 4 of Bronze, Williamson, Morgan and Carter. Go through the rest of them in a moment, because Grace Clinton's into the area here. Portugal with the sliding challenge. They just managed to clear the ball away. Clinton and Walsh in the centre, with Park playing behind. Beever-Jones and Mead and Hemp on the wings. Hemp making her first England appearance since October. Here she is on the ball after that 5.5 months out with a knee injury. Brilliant little bit of skill, takes her past Anna Capetta, but good sliding challenge in the end from Anna Borges. But England pick it back up, working it nicely outside the penalty area. Here is Lauren Hemp, dinks the ball in, cleared away by Portugal, playing in the bright red shirts, the dark green shorts and the bright red socks. England in their new kits today, their new home kits, with the blue fading into red as a striped banner at the top of the shirt. The rest of the shirt is white with dark blue shorts and white socks, as Jess Parr chests the ball up, played to Grace Clinton, who blazes wide from 25 yards. Let's head to Northern Ireland, Poland, full time. Nicola McCarthy.
Yes, Vicky, a night to remember, or night to forget, for Northern Ireland here in Belfast. They've lost 4-0 to Poland in their Group B1, a group that before tonight's game they did have eyes on winning with that prize of automatic promotion to the top tier. They were 1-0 down though within a minute, and to be honest, they never really recovered. There were some green shoots in the closing stages. 19-year-old substitute Emily Wilson hitting the bar, a reminder of what they can do as they now turn their focus to their next and final game. That's away in Bosnia on Tuesday. They need a win or a draw there, Vicky, in order to secure second place and that promotion playoff spot. But tonight, here in Belfast, it's finished Northern Ireland 0, Poland 4.
Thanks very much, Nicola. Elsewhere in England's group, Spain have doubled their advantage away to Belgium, so they will stay top of the group as things stand. It will all come down in terms of qualifying for the Nations League finals to that final match, which we will have full commentary of for you on Tuesday night, 6 o'clock UK time kick-off, Spain against England in Barcelona. But victory here tonight for England sees them finish in the top 2, and that means they stay in League A for the World Cup qualifiers, and that was a key aim for this Nations League campaign, and they look like wrapping that up with a game to spare as the ball is cleared up towards the England captain Leah Williamson on halfway. Out to the right hand side, and Lucy Bronze, and Williamson will pick it up on halfway once again. Already this evening we've seen Wales relegated to League B after a 1-0 defeat away to Denmark, and with an hour gone it's still currently goalless between Scotland and Austria. Scotland will be relegated if they don't win that game, so still in the balance with them. Lauren Hemp is down. Late challenge. England have a free kick. Karen Bardsley.
That's one thing I really don't want to see in this game is injuries, particularly to someone like Lauren Hemp that's only just come back. That looked like a painful one. Not sure if her ankle got rolled or caught in the turf, but I have to say she has really caught my attention today, and the way that she's been such a threat down this left-hand side. She uses her speed as another tool. She stops and then starts again. The defender bites and then doesn't know if she's coming or going. It's so I can't even think of the word. It's just absolutely dangerous.
Down the right-hand side go England. Grace Clinton into the penalty area. It's cleared away at the back by Portugal, but England get another foot in. Tatiana Pinto that time on the end of the box will clear away, and out to the left-hand side they go. Portugal pick up possession once more. Just one question for you, Karen. One thing we debated off air at half-time, whether, given that neither Chiara Keating nor Anna Morehouse have been capped yet for England, and of course with Mary Earps's retirement, one of them will now be number 2, you would think, for the Euros, whether you would give them a debut in this game, or whether it's important for Hannah Hampton to continue to get the minutes with England leading by 5-0.
Listen, I mean, Serena Wiegmann isn't really into giving charitable donations, is she? So if she doesn't feel like it's the right moment, I don't think she will. But I do think giving a cap to someone that obviously deserves it, maybe that typically goes unnoticed, will go a long way in the group. So obviously the likes of Chiara Keating, I think she's done quite well. She's done what she's been asked to do in terms of playing with the 23s. She was very good in the previous season, 2023-24. Had a bit of a blip obviously the last season for Manchester City, but she's more than capable of big games, and I think she's frankly maybe deserving of one.
Here go Portugal with their big player Jessica Silva. It's cleared away at the back though by England. Portugal with Pereira in goal. The back three of Borges, Costa and Pinto. Ahead of them Norton, Jacinto, Tatiana Pinto and Amado, with Capetta and Diana Silva now supporting Jessica Silva up top. Let's head to Scotland, Austria. Gavin Wallace.
No sooner you said anything, but there's been a goal. Scotland 0, Austria 1. Julia Hickelsberger of Hoffenheim at the front post from a corner. It was whipped in and on the head right in front of the goalkeeper at the near post. It's really poor from a Scotland point of view, and this would definitely see them relegated. Scotland 0, Austria 1.
Thanks, Gavin. Yes, not going well for the other home nations this evening in the Women's Nations League. Wales relegated. Northern Ireland suffering a heavy defeat in League B to Poland, and Scotland, as we heard there, trailing Austria. They need to win that game, Scotland, or they'll be relegated, as England win possession over on the right hand side. Here is Beth Mead out to the right once more, and Lucy Bronze picks it up. England leading by 5-0. Picked up now by their hat-trick heroine Aggie Beever-Jones, but her ball forward is intercepted and Portugal can come forward. Here is Diana Silva linking up with Jessica Silva. These two can be dangerous when they get going, as Portugal look to get on the score sheet, but that ball forward for Jessica Silva had too much on it, and Jess Carter will collect for England. Karen Bardsley.
It just must be exasperating for Jessica Silva coming into a game like this, trying to get up to speed, but you're constantly seeing the ball being played over your head, and you just hope that if you chase it hard enough you might get something to it, but it's been far too easy. I think these England defenders have had an absolute cigar on.
Offside flag up against Lauren Hemp, and Portugal have the free kick. Talking about Lauren Hemp, you know, we mentioned this is her first England appearance since October 2024. because of that knee injury. She did return after her 5.5-month absence for Manchester City at the end of April. But what have you made of her performance as she picks it up on this left-hand side for England?
Sorry of Lauren Hemp. Yeah, I was just looking at all the subs coming on. No, I think she's been tremendous. Like, for me, she's not missed a beat at all. We've really missed that speed down that left-hand side, the ability, like I said earlier, to kind of chop and change directions, to link play, to take players on 1v1, the aggressive nature, I think, of Lauren Hemp. She just loves playing football, and it looks like she's really missed it.
So that substitution, that triple substitution that Karen Barsley mentions, is being prepared by England. Maya Le Tissier is coming on. Alex Greenwood's going to make her England comeback as well after injury. And Chloe Kelly, fresh from winning the Champions League with Arsenal. And of course, the heroine of Wembley, that European Championship final here in 2022. That extra time winner against Germany is also going to take to the field as England have it over on the far side with Leah Williamson, their captain. Out to the left-hand side they go, and Jess Carter, this is the header, bounces off the head of Norton, up towards Jessica Silva for Portugal, but England crowd her out of it, and the ball is played back to Jess Park, who's slotted back into that centre-half position at the moment, but she's moving up into midfield, as is her natural position, as Serena Wiegmann stands next to that triple substitution, watching on, her hands clasped behind her back. What a performance this has been from the Lionesses. They've been up and down so far in this Nations League campaign, but this is definitely a performance on the up as they win a throw over on the far side, as the Mexican wave ripples past us once again. And here comes this triple change. So Lucy Bronze, the first player to make way on the score sheet tonight for England, making it 2-0 after just 5 minutes. What a start it was for England. So she is replaced by Maya Le Tissier, the Manchester United captain. Lauren Hemp is off, replaced by Chloe Kelly. You think that would probably be pre-planned just before the hour mark. Hemp making her England comeback. And Esme Morgan is replaced by Alex Greenwood. And again, Greenwood's first appearance for England in 2025 after her knee injury. And let's start with her, Karen. It's big to see her back for England.
No, it really is. You know, to have that left footer as well, that natural balance in the back line is going to be really complementary to how England are going to want to play out. But, you know, her passing range, her emotional control is so important to Manchester City and also to England. And, I mean, it's just great to see her back in an England shirt.
Foul over on the far side, a free kick for Portugal, and a yellow card brandished as well in the direction of Grace Clinton. And Portugal will have the set piece as England look to keep this momentum going. So we see that high boot. It was high on Tatiana Pinto from Grace Clinton. Yellow card, probably the right decision.
I think slightly dramatic, but yeah, still a bit too high for my liking.
So Portugal in possession. Oh, that's good work by Diana Silva. Jess Carter went sliding in and didn't get anywhere near the ball or the player. And Portugal coming forward, looking to get on the score sheet here. England leading by 5-0. Jessica Silva waits in the centre, their big player. Back from injury, Diana Silva picks it up inside the area, but they overrun it. Norton can't keep hold of it, and here go England with Jess Park. Aggie Beaver-Jones now on a hat-trick. Or scored a hat-trick, I should say. Already got a hat-trick, looking for a 4th goal for England this evening. It would be England's 6th. They lead by 5-0. It's Grace Clinton picks it up and plays it out to the right-hand side, and work back to Maya Le Tissier, who, as expected, coming on for Lucy Bronze, has slotted into that right-back position. As you said in the first half, Cameron, when we were talking about Morgan starting ahead of Maya Le Tissier, you know, she does seem so set, doesn't she, Serena Wiegmann, on, well, if Le Tissier plays for England, it's going to be at right-back, not at centre-half where she plays for Manchester United.
I think what I can take from that is she must really appreciate her athleticism. I mean, she's a hard-working player, Maya Le Tissier, and she's more than capable of getting up and down that right-hand side. And then the added quality as well, the passing range. She can support attacks, get into the area, put crosses in the box. So perhaps that's the lens that Serena Wiegmann is looking at that through.
So here is Jess Carter on the left-hand side, ready to take this throw for England. Level with the Portugal penalty area, leading by 5-0. What a game it's been in the Women's Nations League as Jessica Silva loses out, and Alex Greenwood picks it up and forward now to Kira Walsh. England coming forward once more. Down the left-hand side they go. And Chloe Kelly picks it up, pulls it back to Jess Carter as the Mexican wave ripples around us once again. Pulls it back to Kira Walsh. Forward now, it's lovely play. Chloe Kelly, good sliding challenge by Portugal, and Kelly will allow that to roll out for a corner. Well recovered by Anna Borges. And England will have the set piece and the corner.
And what a remarkable story, I think, about Chloe Kelly and where she started out the season. And, you know, she's found her way in that January transfer window to Arsenal, and she's only gone and won the Champions League. And what a story that is, isn't it?
What a performance it was from that Arsenal side. As England prepared to take this corner from the near side, it swung in high towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Portugal trying to get it away, and eventually they do. Cleared up towards the halfway line. And Jess Carter picks it up just outside the centre circle. England 5, Portugal 0. Approaching the midway point of the second half here at Wembley on 5 Live and BBC Sounds as Jess Park wins the free kick, third of the way inside the Portugal half.
And it looks like things might be starting to get a little bit scrappy, Vicky, wouldn't you say? I think Tatiana Pinto looks like there's an edge of frustration growing into this Portuguese side as Jess Park was absolutely just toying with possession, looked to dribble past. And you see a big hand come over Jess Park's shoulder and try to pull her back.
Here is Jess Carter, plays it in field to Alex Greenwood just inside the centre circle. That's nicely driven forward to Aggie Beaver-Jones, and now back to Kira Walsh out to the right hand side, and England will try and work it once more with Maya Letitia. But this has been such a composed and controlled and at times vivacious performance as Beth Mead picks up the ball left hand side of the penalty area, dinks it in, it's a free header. What a run that is at the far post, and England are 6-0 up against Portugal, and again there is just far too much time and far too much space for Chloe Kelly running in, nods the ball across goal. It's really poor defending once again from Portugal, but Kelly making the run to perfection, and England lead by 6-0.
Alex Greenwood has just come on the pitch, and she has just played a beautifully pinpoint accurate pass out to that wide area, and the delivery as well from that wide area into Chloe Kelly was on point, absolutely on point. Patient on the ball, nice late run on the back shoulder across the defender, and she's absolutely in no man's land. But hey, you still have to put it on target, you still have to not at home. And Chloe Kelly, she just loves scoring at Wembley, doesn't she? Well, a ball in from Beth Mead, by the way. The shape on that, right into the path of Chloe. Beautiful.
It's one of these where the cross comes in and you can just see exactly where it's going to go. You can see the player running onto it. Again, we have to say it's really poor defending from Portugal. She's completely unmarked at the far post. It's a simple task to nod it in. But like you said, Karen, at the end of the first half, England at times haven't been clinical in these sort of situations, but they really have this evening. It's been a great performance from the Lionesses here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds as Beth Mead will shepherd that ball out for a corner. And as we say, Portugal shipped 7 goals in their last match against Spain. They could be heading the same way here because we've still got over a quarter of this match to play, and England lead by 6-0.
I'm just glad you enunciate very, very well. I wasn't sure what you said then. No, but they have been poor, haven't they? And to equal that tally, that would be something.
So corner to be taken from the far side for England. Likes of Grace Clinton is in the penalty area. Letitia there as well. And in the end it was Williamson who got forward and won the header, the England captain, but sails harmlessly behind for a Portugal goal kick. So already in the Nations League this evening, Scotland heading for relegation, trailing Austria by 0-0. Wales lost to Denmark earlier. That means they are relegated. Northern Ireland and they'd be thumped 4-0 by Poland going into their final game. Northern Ireland hoping to get one of those promotion playoff places. And Spain are now 4-0 up. They've scored twice more away to Belgium in this group. So it will all go down to the final game. England away to Spain in Barcelona on Tuesday. Full commentary on 5 Live, 6 o'clock UK time. The winner of the group, Spain currently 2 points ahead of England, will go through to the Nations League finals. But crucially, England finishing in the top two, as they will do this evening, sees them stay in League A for the World Cup qualifiers. And that was a big aim, as Diana Silva goes down 30 yards out of central position, wins a free kick, much to the derision of Wembley.
Just listen to that. Fully onside, this Wembley crowd. But what a show they've been privy to tonight. It's just been so fun to watch, with so much fluidity, enjoyment this England team has been playing with.
Oh, she is up to her feet, Diana Silva. They might, just might, go for goal from here. It's probably just shy of 30 yards, 27 or so. Central position. They've got nothing to lose here, Portugal. So Andrea Norton standing over it. Will they go for goal? They do, and it sails rather narrowly over Hannah Hampton's crossbar. And that gives me a chance to bring you in on Hannah Hampton. Although we'll do that in a moment, because Fran Kirby is about to come on for England. So let's see who this change is for. And the player coming off is Jess Park. So a word on Jess Park's performance, Karen.
Listen, I really enjoy watching Jess Park play. I love the fact that she tries to constantly take the game by the scruff of the neck. She's still young, she's still learning the out-of-possession work in terms of the press, the timing, the distances, but on the ball, she's class. Great close control, keeps it central. She can go left, she can go right. She's got this determination to beat her player. And listen, when you're playing against a low block, these are the types of things that you need, a mid-block. When you go into the Euros, different players with different characteristics can, obviously complement your midfield as well. So Serena certainly has a plethora of choice when it comes to midfielders as well.
Portugal are preparing to make changes as well. Andrea Faria is down there, one of the players about to come on, and Carolina Correa, that's going to be her Portugal debut. So big moment for the 22-year-olds, as England in possession, leading by 6-0 with 22 minutes plus added time to play here at Wembley on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. And as Leah Williamson has it in the centre circle, just a word on Hannah Hampton. I mean, there's so much attention on her, isn't there, after Mary Epps' retirement this week. We thought that Hampton probably would be number one for the Euros, but that pressure has just ramped up again. She's not had too much to do. It's hard to really assess her in this game, isn't it?
No, Portugal have been poor and they've really rarely threatened the goal, but I'll leave this to you, Vicky.
England might threaten again here, pick it up on the left-hand side. It's well marshalled in the end by Portugal, and they will manage to get a foot in as well. Norton eventually, she sent it out for a throw, but is deemed to have been fouled there by Chloe Kelly, and so it will be a free kick to Portugal. And now here comes that change. So the first player to come on, and what a moment this is for her, Carolina Correa, making her Portugal debut. She's only made 4 appearances for their youth side. She's an under-23 international, 22 years of age, and she is on for Andrea. And the second player to come on is Andrea Faria. So double change for Portugal, but it's been a bitter disappointment for them this evening here at Wembley.
No, it certainly has been a disappointing one indeed. It'll be a night to forget for Portugal, but touching back on that Hannah Hampton point, I think sometimes as a goalkeeper, although you don't always have a lot to do with your hands, you still have to command the area, you have to command the back line with your presence, and I think she's been doing that tonight. She's at a relatively high start position, but there's no threat really from Portugal. But yeah, as a keeper, you gotta have to have something to aspire to. So how do I stay connected with my back line? How am I going to keep that clean sheet this evening? This is all good preparation for the summer.
So Andrea Norton and Andrea Jacinto, the two players coming off Spain, are trying to keep pace with England in terms of the goal scoring. They're 5-0 up now, away to Belgium. Oh, I'm sorry, Spain, but England have got 6 here. But still, it's going to be as you were in terms of the top of the group. Spain leading England by 2 points heading into that decider in terms of who will qualify for the Nations League finals on Tuesday in Barcelona. Full commentary on 5 Live, 6 o'clock UK time as that ball goes out of play for a Portugal throw deep in their own territory. Do join us for the Champions League final tomorrow evening. Paris Saint-Germain against Inter Milan with our team in Munich as the attendance is announced here. 48,531 have come to see what has been, Karen Bardsley, particularly in the first half, a quite sumptuous England display.
It certainly was. It was absolutely superb, wasn't it? It was just so fluid, so much enjoyment from the players, the fans, some great goals, some few scruffy ones, but ultimately for me, there's been a lot of criticism around England's ruthlessness in front of goal, around whether they can convert their chances, whether they can take their opportunities, and they've proved that this evening. And I think the confidence that these girls can take from that tonight is going to be huge, but it comes with that massive caveat, doesn't it, that Portugal have been poor and they've been relatively easy to play through. So the next opponent, Spain, obviously will provide a significantly different challenge.
Carter clears long downfield, looking for the run of Aggie Beaver-Jones, brought down by Kira Walsh on the halfway line. That's the key, isn't it? England's best performance in the Nations League so far, arguably, in terms of the best result, hasn't been the 5-0 against Belgium, hasn't really even been the 6-0 against Portugal. It was the 1-0 victory against the reigning world champions Spain, and going away to Spain and seeing what they can do against a side who, many of those Barcelona players that are going to turn out for Spain will have been so stung by the Champions League final defeat. Will we see a response from them, just as we've seen the momentum carried on by the likes of Beth Mead and Leah Williamson, who were triumphant with Arsenal? But that is going to be such a key test. Yes, to try and win the group and get into the Nations League, but definitely ahead of the Euros.
It'll be a massive test. As you're right, in that Champions League final, a majority of those players will have been stung, and they're not used to feeling that way at all. So in terms of the quality on display, it's going to be a fantastic game. England were absolutely exquisite when they beat Spain 1-0 here at Wembley. Even when the lights went out, they were still electric, weren't they?
He has a power cut for a few minutes right at the start of the second half as Frank Kirby powers down that left-hand side for England, swings the ball into the penalty area, cleared away by Portugal. Jess Carter will send it back in. Again, Portugal win the header. Jessica Silva back there defending. England send it back in. A lot of head tennis at the moment. Oh, that was a high boot there from Jess Carter and Tatiana Pinto, and the referee has blown the whistle there. And tell you what, I think Jess Carter might be a little bit fortunate there to just get away with a whistle and a free kick, because that boot was high. You could hear the ooh around Wembley as she went in for that challenge.
No, it was certainly up there, wasn't it? But she had all eyes and all attention on the ball, and I think there was even an element of shock on Jess Carter's face when she did make contact with the head of Tatiana Pinto.
Here come England down the right-hand side, and they've won a free kick. They were still in possession just on the edge of the penalty area, but the referee's called it back for an earlier foul. And this is a decent position, 25 yards or so out, just in from that right-hand side of the penalty area, and an opportunity for England to get a 7th here at Wembley against Portugal.
That would be delightful, wouldn't it? It's just what this game needs, is more goals, right? No, but a set-piece goal would be something special. In terms of, I think there has been some criticism in the past that most of them are typically the same. We haven't really seen a lot of creativity from set pieces. Beth Mead is still down, isn't she?
Yeah, just being helped up to her feet. Now, wasn't too much in it from Anna Borsch, the former Chelsea player, but set piece for England and a chance to make it a magnificent 7 against Portugal here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. So Mead up to her feet. It's one of the players standing over it. Greenwood's there as well. It's swung towards goal. Oh, it's off the bar, and the header is missed from a few yards on the follow-up. But what a chance for England to make it 7 there. It was a super effort from the set piece, and the follow-up so agonisingly over from Chloe Kelly, already on the score sheet this evening, but that would have been a perfect way. And what a strike from Alex Greenwood. Well, we know she loves to go from range, and that was superb. So unlucky.
It was a stunning strike, wasn't it? And it forced a very good save from the Portuguese goalkeeper just to touch it onto the crossbar, but unfortunate that couldn't be capitalised on from Chloe Kelly. I mean, she just scored a header, but she's not known for scoring headers, is she? She just kind of pops that one over the top of the crossbar.
The big cheer you just heard is a big moment for England, because Georgia Stanway has come on for her first appearance for club or country since the 18th of December after recovering from a knee injury. She's replaced Keira Walsh. So again, another boost for the Lionesses. So many positives to take from this evening. Hemp making her injury comeback, Green with 2, and now Stanway. They're 6-0 up against Portugal, and Aggie Beever-Jones has gone and got a hat-trick.
And this will be interesting as well. I think Keira Walsh is always that enigmatic player where you're just kind of thinking who would be the replacement, the direct replacement, if she came off injured. And this is a perfect opportunity to see maybe how Grace Clinton sits into that role, or perhaps even Georgia Stanway in that deeper holding midfield position.
Well, Stanway's taking it up for now. She did that at the World Cup, didn't she, when Keira Walsh was stretchered off.
Tried all
group
sorts,
stages, yeah, and in the end Walsh was able to recover, but at the time they feared the worst and thought she might be missing for the tournament. So, as you say, Karen, it's a key option for England to have if there is an issue with Walsh, and at the moment Stanway sitting in that defensive midfield role. So England leading by 6-0, 14 minutes plus added time to play here at Wembley, and played forward by the England captain Leah Williamson. Out to the right hand side, and it's picked up by the Manchester United skipper Maya Le Tissier, all the way back to Williamson, who scoops it back to Hannah Hampton. Again, Portugal just starting to put the press on, but it's been a humbling encounter for them. They managed to get a draw against England in their opening game, but they've never beaten them in their history, and they have been well beaten this evening. 6-0. Big cheers as a paper aeroplane nearly makes its way into the technical area. As England have the ball over on the far side, Mexican waves going around. There is a celebratory air here at Wembley on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, because this has been a quite luscious performance from the Lionesses after a week that has been challenging, with Mary Earps' shock retirement. Not what you wanted 5 weeks before the Euros, but if there was any disruption, if it's caused that within the camp, they certainly have not shown that tonight, England. Indeed, they played almost as if they wanted to prove that that wasn't the case, that they are together, they are strong, they are the reigning European champions and are ready to defend that title. But as we say, as impressive as this performance has been, as England have it in the centre circle, we'll get more answers to questions about how ready England are when they take on Spain in Barcelona on Tuesday. Join us for commentary of that on 5 Live from 6 o'clock. And it's one more friendly against Jamaica before they begin their European campaign against France in July in Switzerland, as Portugal pick up possession just outside their own penalty area. When we're thinking about those squad decisions that Sarina Wiegman has to make, Karen, as Frank Kirby gives away a free kick, Portugal set piece just inside their own half. I mean, what sort of learnings do you think she will have taken from this game? She's got one more opportunity to look at players, but again, you know, when you interview Sarina Wiegman, she often talks about, you know, that they look at players throughout the whole season, and you get the sense that even across these 2 games, there's not too much that players can do to definitively change her mind, other than perhaps, you know, putting in a performance like Aggie Beever-Jones has done by scoring a hat-trick. Karen's thoughts on that in a moment. England have a free kick just down from the halfway line, but let's head to Scotland against Austria. Gavin Wallace.
2 minutes to go. Scotland 0, Austria 1. Vicky had a really great chance of Kirsty Howitt, maybe with 20 yards out or something. She went for goal, and the goalkeeper had to try and just tip it onto the bar. It smacked off the crossbar, and that has to be Scotland's best chance. It is still Scotland 0, Austria 1.
Thanks, Gavin. And Scotland then heading for relegation. Wales have also been relegated from League A, which has implications for the World Cup qualifiers. End up in League B for those, so not a good evening for the rest of the home nations. Northern Ireland as well in League B, losing 4-0 to Poland. They'll be hoping to get a promotion playoff in their final game in the Women's Nations League, as the ball is played over the halfway line. Here is Jess Carter for England down the left hand side. It's well anticipated by Portugal, and Karen Barsley's frustration to my right, perhaps audible to you, because it is now about England keeping this clean sheet. They lead by 6-0. They're finishing in the top 2. They're going to stay in League A for the World Cup qualifiers, which is a key objective of this Nations League campaign. And they're still in with a shout of winning the group in and qualifying for the Nations League final itself. 6-0 they lead. Portugal in possession outside their own penalty area. So yeah, key learnings as we think about finalising this Euro squad, Karen.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Aggie Beever-Jones is a baller. That's probably the first key learning. She's got a nose for goal. She's an obvious threat in behind and out wide when she pulls off into those wide channels. She's pesky. She gets across the face of the goalkeeper. Just makes a nuisance of herself, really, more than anything else. So knowing that there is that weapon, you know, whether it's on the bench or whether she starts the game, that's lovely to know that it is in Serena Wiegmann's toolkit. You know, as for Lauren Hemp, you know, it's amazing to see her back on the pitch. So she is back. I think she's announced herself officially. Obviously, Alex Greenwood as well, having that lovely balance with the left foot. She can spray passes. She's been fantastic tonight. Like I said, this all comes with the caveat of Portugal being very poor, by the way. No disrespect, they just have been bad. And, you know, seeing like the likes of Fran Kirby, Jess Parks doing a good job when she was on the pitch, Chloe Kelly contributing. I think you can learn a lot around how this team has been pressing out of possession. The distances look better. They're still not quite correct, but they're choosing the right moments to sit into a mid-block or press high aggressively. And they've really just put this game to bed nice and early, which is what you have to do.
Yeah, they were 2-0 up after just 5 minutes, England, and they haven't looked back as England win a throw. It's Anna Capetta, who's gone into the book for an earlier foul, incidentally. Watchers on is Alex Greenwood, who's hit the bar from a super free kick on the angle. 25 yards out, passes it forward. Grace Clinton loses out, almost comes to Fran Kirby, Brighton's player of the year this season. She's dispossessed, but it's so brilliant to see Fran Kirby back to form and doing what she does best after the struggles that she's had in her career with illness and injury. Whenever she gets a prolonged period of fitness, you're reminded what she can do, as Portugal have it midway through their own half.
She's frightening. She's absolutely frightening. I can remember in the 2015 World Cup we were playing against Mexico, and she just picked up the ball midfield, makes a little dribble, goes and scores, and makes it look like you know you're making a cup of tea. It's just like the easiest thing in the world for her. And I think knowing that she's capable of that is frustrating, that she's not more readily available, but when she is, it's like gold dust.
Here come Portugal winning the ball midway through their own half, and in the end winning the free kick as well, as the ball goes back to that midway point. So yes, commentary of that decider that will see who wins this Nations League group and qualifies for the Nations League finals in the autumn. That's coming up on 5 Live on Tuesday evening, 6 o'clock UK time. Spain against England, live from Barcelona. And join us tomorrow live from Munich for the Men's Champions League final, PSG against Inter Milan. As Portugal prepare another double change as the ball is played back all the way to Hannah Hampton, out to the left-hand side, and Alex Greenwood. And if England did want a performance and a display to just move the narrative on from Mary Earps, they couldn't really have asked for much more this evening, could they, Karen?
No, it's been an absolute narrative mover, hasn't it? I think, listen, what's happening on the pitch in terms of the confidence, the fluidity, the enjoyment. I think the fact that at the minute it's clean sheet, there's not been much of a threat for Portugal. There's a lot of positives to take away.
Here come England down the right-hand side. Grace Clinton in possession as a moth lands on the outside of our commentary box. Thankfully it's not getting in the way of that penalty area, although it is now, it's just climbing up towards it. So I'll lean round the moth and Portugal will win possession just outside their own penalty area. England leading by 6-0. 7 minutes plus added time to go here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds as Inês Pereira, the Portuguese goalkeeper, all in grey, plays it out to this right hand side, and Anna Capetta. It's good control, gets it away from Chloe Kelly, and Portugal will build once more from the back as coming together from Diana Silva. Portugal lose out, and it's Aggie Beever-Jones going for her 4th and England's 7th, and Inês Pereira makes the save, beats it behind for an England corner.
And again, it's just poor from Portugal, dispossessed in the midfield, and then first thought forward from England, finds Aggie Beever-Jones in the area and tries with the outside of her foot to bend it round the keeper, but that might be just a bit too much for today. Still need that quality. But yeah, it's an absolute joy to watch, isn't it? It really is fun.
Well, there's only one female player who scored 4 goals in a single game at Wembley. Caroline Morais of Italy did it against England in a friendly back in 1990. Beth Mead, the only other lioness to achieve that mark that Aggie Beever-Jones has notched up today. She only scored her first England goal in the Nations League final win against Belgium. 3 today for Aggie Beever-Jones as that corner is headed away by Portugal. Almost breaks on the edge of the area to Stanway, but Portugal get a foot in and they're bursting towards halfway. England 6, Portugal 0 in the Women's Nations League here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds as the ball is chipped forward looking for the run of Jessica Silva, but too much on it and it's all the way through with Hannah Hampton. Karen Bardsley.
I just keep thinking that, you know, these poor Portugal players, it must be so frustrating to play in this particular game because you're just thinking, I'm not going to get anywhere near it. You know, Jessica Silva's not even thinking about being a threat. She's trying to screen a pass, but she's not doing a job. So I just think from a player's perspective, this has to be just one of the worst games you could possibly play in.
Yeah, they were up against it from the 3rd minute when Beever-Jones got the first of her hat-trick, and then Lucy Bronze doubling England's advantage inside 5 minutes, and Beth Mead then penalised for offside. I was going to say England could be in again down that left-hand side. They've not given up hope of this 7th goal yet, have they, Karen?
No, but that's exactly what Sarina Wiegman wants. Do you remember that game, Latvia, 20-0? And you're just thinking, yeah, just feed the beast, keep going.
Yes, those days well and truly over with the reorganising of women's football as it is in the men's game into the Nations League. It has, I think most would agree, made it better, more competitive matches, even though today it's not been so competitive. England have been very good, Portugal have been very poor. So Beatriz Fonseca and Carolina Mendes are coming on for Portugal. But while those changes are made, it's full time in Scotland. Gavin Wallace.
Scotland 0, Austria 1. Hello and goodbye tonight's team. Vicky, Melissa Andrietta with her first act, Captain Rachel Corsie exiting stage left on what has been in a Scotland jersey a fantastic career with 155 caps, and goodbye to League A Group 1 as Julia Hickelsberger's front post header from a corner shows Scotland frailties. But Captain Corsie, we bid you a farewell. Scotland 0, Austria 1.
Yes, what a servant she's been to Scottish football. Thanks very much, Gavin. So disappointment for Scotland, relegated to League B. Disappointment for Wales as well. That's been their fate. Also in Northern Ireland in League B already suffering a heavy defeat by Poland, looking to get a promotion playoff in their final match, Northern Ireland. As those 2 changes for Portugal, just confirmation. Mendes and Fonseca we mentioned coming on. Capetta and Deanna Silva have made way. So 2 minutes plus added time to play. England in possession over on the far side. Let's just look ahead briefly to Spain, Karen. Do you think we'll pretty much see a similar starting lineup, although Alessia Russo and Ella Toone have minor calf injuries? They could potentially be involved against Spain on Tuesday.
Isn't it funny that Alessia Russo and Ella Toone just both picked up the same injury and they get injured together? Like, they're just such good friends, they do everything together. I think it's going to be an interesting test, and for sure I think it's just something that obviously Alessia Russo certainly wants to take part in. I think it'll be a good challenge. Will we see a similar midfield to start today against Spain? Unsure. I'm not sure that we'll see the likes of Esme Morgan against Spain as well. I think Alec Greenwood might come in potentially to start. I would imagine that Hempo would probably start out on the left again as well. Maybe just for a few minutes in terms of like maybe the first half, 60 minutes, something along those lines. I think the interesting one for me will be, will Aggie Beever-Jones play a role? And how will she get on?
Beth Mead, so tenacious, already on the score sheet, but she keeps getting penalised. First for offside, that time for a foul. Boos all around Wembley because Beth Mead is such a popular player. They wanted to see her get the decision from the referee there, but it stays at 6 for England as we head into the final 2 minutes plus added time here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. And apart from individual performances, Karen, as England have the ball on halfway, what's impressed you most about this England performance collectively as a team? Karen's thoughts on that in a moment, because England might get down the right here. They do, with Maya Letitia down to the byline, lifts the ball in, Mead's in there, so's Kirby. It's cleared away by Portugal. England looking for the 7th goal in the dying stages here at Wembley. They're going to finish in the top 2 of their Nations League group. They're going to stay in League A for the World Cup qualifiers. That's job 1 done. Still in with a shout of qualifying for the Nations League finals. That will come down to the game against Spain on Tuesday. Full commentary on 5 Live from 6 o'clock UK time. Plenty of players making a case not just to go to the Euros, but to very much be involved in the Euros, none more so than Aggie Beever-Jones. Hat-trick heroine tonight at Wembley. England in possession on halfway. So yes, as a team, Karen, what would you say have been the most impressive elements of this performance?
I think just the way they've been passing the ball. I think they've had a good tempo. They've understood when to move it quickly, when to move it slowly. They've protected the ball. They've been tidier in possession. You know, we've only seen a handful of forced mistakes. And that's something that obviously England have been criticised for in this campaign previously, for just being a bit sloppy, being a bit slow, particularly against that first game against Portugal when it finished 1-1. Just needed a bit of an injection of pace into possession, and I think we've certainly seen that. I could go on, but you're not here to listen to me talk.
Well, one of us has got to.
Well,
otherwise it'd be very boring.
It'd be terrible radio, wouldn't it?
England in possession in the centre circle. We're about to enter added time for a match that cannot end soon enough for Portugal. England leading by 6-0. 3 minutes of added time. The green number goes up and Beth Mead takes the ball down the left-hand side. There's the Portugal fans who've been brilliant this evening, we have to say. That little contingent away to our right-hand side still waving their bright red and dark green flags with gusto, but their side have been comprehensively outplayed, shredded by the claws of the Lionesses this evening as they pick the ball up, Portugal just outside their own penalty area. But again, as we look at Hannah Hampton, all in yellow, an isolated figure, she's had very, very little to do. They did have that chance at 2-0 that hit the post, Portugal, but really since then there's been barely anything of note to speak of.
No, absolutely, and that's one of those moments that we were talking about. England really struggled to clear the pressure. The ball kind of fell out to the edge of the area and there was a strike, wasn't there? And I think we're in those England were in that transitional moment of squeezing up, not getting any pressure on the ball, and it's just those little moments against better opposition that could potentially cost you, because that might be the only chance, you know, you concede and it could be the only goal in the game.
Throw to England on this near side as we see a shot of Serena Wiegmann taking a swig from a water bottle. She's sat back down now, not in her technical area, but she will be absolutely delighted by the way that her side have responded to the tumultuous events of this week. The shock retirement from international football of Mary Earps, and at her press conference, she and the captain Leah Williamson facing questions about the Lionesses' togetherness, whether Earps' decision had been selfish, and just this undercurrent of, you know, well, what does this do? How does this disrupt the reigning European champions just 5 weeks out from the Euros? And tonight they have answered emphatically that they're together, they're strong, they're a team. The key test will be consistency. They put in great performances in the Nations League this season. They beat Belgium by 5-0. They beat Spain 1-0 here at Wembley. That was a great result for them against the reigning world champions. But they also dropped points against Portugal and they lost against Belgium. So they've been up and down. That's been the story for the Lionesses for a while, but tonight has very much been pure positive as Portugal win possession just outside their own penalty area. England still looking for the 7th goal. Every player out there playing with real gusto and real drive right in the dying stages of this game. Got 30 seconds or so to play and Portugal have a free kick. Karen Bardsley.
I've just been watching Maya Letitia off the ball while she's just constantly organising, constantly trying to make herself available in possession, and then
now a little bit of a coming together there between Leah Williamson, who doesn't normally get riled up, and Catarina Amado. Now, ball went over the top. There was a foul by Amado on Williamson. That's the whistle from the referee. I just wonder if something's been said there, because that is so. She's really crossed Leah Williamson. Alex Green has had to come to her and calm her down. Now she's gesturing at her leg, Williamson. Interested to see a replay of this as it comes now. So as Amado falls down. Oh, there's a little bit of it. Do you know what? She's leaned her head in there towards Leah Williamson, and Williamson has leaned her head a little bit back towards Amado as well. Full time, we don't have VAR. There's not going to be any repercussions for that during this game. But, well, discipline just spilled over a little bit there for England and Portugal. But referee saw nothing much in it. We might come back to that later, but let's, first of all, as the full-time whistle goes, Karen, say, what a performance from England. 6-0 they beat Portugal, and particularly the first half. I mean, they were stunning.
No, it was a tremendous first half, wasn't it? Obviously, Aggie Beever-Jones really announcing herself, you know, putting her case forward, as you said, to Serena Wiegmann to make sure that she knows that she's capable of starting at this summer's European Championship. But, I mean, for me, there's so many positives to take away. really energetic, really lively in terms of moving the ball around the pitch. Lots of players getting forward, joining in attacks. Like Lucy Braun's getting on the score sheet. You've got, Beth Mead, Chloe Kelly adding to the tally as well. So for me, vintage England from the Euros indeed. But it all again comes with that caveat that Portugal were very, very poor this evening. And how can this consistency, how can this confidence be taken into the game against Spain? And how can we get some consistency in performances in the build-up to the Euros?
And Aggie Beever-Jones, I mean, let's just focus a little bit more on her performance because, to come in for I keep saying come in, moving to the centre for the injured Alessia Russo. She did play in the last game against Belgium, but out wide. So taking up that central number 9 position with Russo out injured for this game, to score a hat-trick, to become only the 3rd woman and the 2nd Lioness in history to score a hat-trick at Wembley Stadium, and to play as brilliantly as she has done, for Chelsea's top scorer. How much of a headache has she given Serena Wiegman?
I think quite a lot, to be honest. I think, as you say, she's got the versatility. She can play on the right or the left. And she's proven now that she can play in central areas. I think what makes her so dangerous is she's constantly on the move. She's hunting for the right opportunity to pounce on a centre back or a defender that's just not paying attention. She'll run off the shoulder and she's gone. She times her runs really well. I think the triggers are obvious to her teammates, so the pass comes at the right time. She's rarely offsides, at least today anyway. So not only that, and she's added the finish to it. She makes that run across the goalkeeper. Is quite happy to just get something scruffy on it to make sure that it ends up in the back of the net. And that's a true goal scorer, isn't it? You're always just putting yourself about, making yourself a nuisance and trying to get that ball in the back of the net.
Well, it's been a quite remarkable performance from England. A really good response to the disruption that they've had this week with the shock news of Mary Earps's retirement. They've responded and recovered their poise against Portugal in the best possible way. 6-0 winners. They run out here at Wembley, as well as that Beever-Jones hat-trick. Bronze, Mead and Kelly all on the score sheet. 6 of the best from England. And they finish in League A for the World Cup qualifiers. That was the key aim. Objective achieved, and they've still got a shout of getting through to the Nations League finals as well. That will all come down to their game in Barcelona against Spain on Tuesday. But job very, very well done indeed here tonight at Wembley. 6-0 they beat Portugal.